Hello, my name is Paris London. I'm a criminal defense investigator. I decided to come back on live today because I had a startling conversation yesterday with a friend of mine. I work with this world renowned attorney who does criminal defense work nationwide. And I had the opportunity to go over his house yesterday to discuss something with him. And he was in the middle of a deposition. And I was quiet and I was sitting on his couch and waiting for him to finish the deposition. And when he was getting ready to wrap up the deposition with the prosecutor and the lead detective on a double homicide case, he asked the detective, he said, "I have one question for you." And the detective said, "Sure, what is it?" He said, "The report that you've been making reference to for the last few minutes, what's that report number?" So the detective gave that report number, and then he said, "How did you come about finding that report?" The homicide detective said, "Well, I ran your client's name, and this report number came up under your client's name." So, after the attorney got off of the deposition and off of the computer with the prosecutor, he told me, he said, "Paris, this is the main reason why we need to investigate." And I said, "What?" He said, "That report that that police officer made reference to had nothing to do with my client. My client has never been to the scene. He don't even know where he got that report from. He didn't write that report. My client's name ain't in the report. But he made reference to, he ran my client's name, and that report came up under my client's name." So then we went into a discussion regarding investigating law enforcement's investigation, but more importantly, investigating law enforcement. A lot of times, a lot of clients get charged. Now, in this case, this was a double homicide. But in a lot of other cases, like drug conspiracy cases or drug trafficking cases, or even aggravated assaults and homicide cases, a lot of detectives are overworked and underpaid. And what they do is they hone in on a subject and believe that all of the evidence that they're going to compile is going to be attributed to the client, that they're going to find probable cause to arrest. And that's not always true. A lot of times, the detectives have it wrong. A lot of times, the detectives, and what happens is law enforcement goes to the magistrate and they tell the magistrate all of this information, and then the magistrate signs a warrant for your arrest. The other issue is once you get arrested, there's a grand jury. Now you can indict an orange for being orange. The grand jury is a one-sided process. The detectives go in, the prosecutors question them, the detectives say you're a menace to society and you did A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And in 15 minutes, you indicted. The defense has nothing to do with the grand jury process. However, a lot of times, not often, but a lot of times, the defense is afforded the right to bring their client in to testify in front of the grand jury. That's something that a defendant should never do. That's something that a defense lawyer should never do, because you don't know what your defense is going to be at trial. So you can't lock yourself into a defense by testifying in front of the grand jury. One of the other issues with respect to law enforcement is law enforcement gets confidential informants. A confidential informant is generally known as a snitch or someone that's trying to work off a criminal case that they got arrested on by cooperating with law enforcement, by selling drugs, making telephone calls, or providing information about whomever law enforcement is asking them questions about. So I just wanted to get on give a little bit of information about how you need to hire a criminal defense investigator to investigate not just law enforcement's investigation, but you need to investigate law enforcement. There's only two ways that you can find information about law enforcement officers. One is a deposition that they've already provided, and two is their ex-wife or their ex-spouse. Thank you very much for your time today. You all have a lovely weekend.